Hey everyone, quick tutorial on Evadus Lite, the free tuning tool I made. So the first things you do is obviously you download our app and you sign in. Then you just press start browser and run in background to run the main app in the background. However, the first thing I just have to clarify is that this is a demo version which can be screen recorded. The version that you download from our website cannot be screen recorded, but obviously I have to make this demo. First, and the most important feature is that at no point will your cursor change while using the overlay. You'll notice that when I hover my cursor over things, that my cursor never changes, and that is so that someone that is perhaps watching your screen will never notice that this window is open. Even if I go into a place like YouTube, and let's say, I don't know, maybe I want to take the gay test, my cursor will never change even once, so that someone watching a screen recording of you taking a test, they will never see your cursor changing at all. Second cool feature, which I think a lot of you are going to love, is the screen sharing feature. Now just quickly, I'm going to come into the settings here, and you'll notice Control Shift and F7 is to open the main app from the background. So I'm going to press Shift F7, and there we go, it's back. I'm just going to minimize this, then I'm going to go into screen sharing, and then right here you can screen share to another person anywhere in the world from any device. So I'm going to share my main monitor, which is this one that I'm recording on, 1920 by 1080 30 fps, and I'm going to use Nvidia's encoder, and then the quality preset doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to press start streaming, and there we go. Now you can copy this link, you can go to this URL, and then you can view the chat room from that URL, or you can just scan this QR code. So then what you do when you start screen sharing, share this URL to a friend of yours, then you go into a web browser and you just paste that link, and then it's going to say you have to get the host approval. Then right here it's going to put the IP address that wants to connect, and then you can choose to deny it, ban them from making more requests, or accept them. I'm going to click accept, and there you go. Now your friend can see your screen just like you're seeing it. Now let's open up our browser again, go into screen sharing, and you and your friend can chat between each other from here. So you can type messages to each other and he can give you answers like this. However, obviously you can't chat to your friend from inside the app since this is running in the background. So what you do is you copy the chat room URL, and then you say run in background again. Then inside of the invisible browser, make up a new tab, paste that URL, and now you and your friend can chat just like normal. Next is the screenshot feature, which is probably the most useful. So I'm going to come into my settings here, and the screenshot hotkey is Shift Alt and Z. So what I can do now is essentially take screenshots of my screen without anyone knowing. So Shift Alt and Z, then I'm going to go back into the app, and you'll notice here is the screenshot. So now you can drag these screenshots into any place you want, like ChatGPT, like that. And you can take as many as you want. You can also use your microphone just like normal. You can see here I'm in the browser using my microphone, and it works just fine. The next thing that I'm sure you're worried about is the actual keyboard hook. You notice here there's quite a few hotkeys that you can use, such as to move around the overlay using your keyboard. I'm sure you're worried that someone can actually see those using a keystroke logger, but they actually can't, and I'll show you. So right here I have something called a keyboard event viewer, or a keystroke logger, and as you can see here, it logs all the keys that you press. Right there I press the W, A, S, and D keys just over and over again. However, our specific hotkeys cannot be keystroke logged. So our screenshot hotkey, Shift Alt and Z, I'm going to press right here, press Shift Alt Z, and you notice there the only key that it detected was the Shift key, the key down and the key up. It didn't detect the Alt and the Z at all. And this is not suspicious at all, since obviously you're pressing the Shift key the whole time to capitalize your letters. So this is not suspicious at all. Now, if you've been cheating a while, you know that the very important thing is to make sure that the name of the app is not suspicious. So if I didn't tell you, you would have absolutely no idea what our app was called. So what we do is we hide it with a legitimate sounding name. The app that I downloaded was called Audio Access Transmitter. Also, every single user gets a different app name. The version that you download might be called something completely else, like Firewall Access Broker or something similar. Our app actually has 6 million potential different names, so the chances that you download an app with the same name as another user is so small. And if at any time you want to download this and check it out for yourself, it's completely free. You can come to our website right here, join our Discord server also. It's full of users that can vouch for it, and I'm very active there as well. The next very useful feature is bookmarks. You can come to any website and bookmark it so that you can come back to it later with just one click. Next, as I showed previously, you can minimize and restore the overlay by just quickly pressing a hotkey. You'll also notice that when it's in its minimized state, it looks very, very normal. You can put this pretty much any place on your desktop if you're writing an in-person test, and the supervisors won't know at all. Next very important feature is that by default, the overlay is going to be muted by everything. You notice here that even if I go into YouTube and I'm watching a video and it's at full volume, it doesn't play back anything. The only way to hear what it's actually doing is to press this button.
From action
and then it
items
unmutes it
to
as
key
you can hear now.
decisions.
But by
This
default,
microphone was
to avoid
only
risk, maybe you're busy taking a test and you're using the overlay and then all of a sudden YouTube starts playing. That's why we have this feature, to make sure that by default, everything is muted and you can't get caught by accident. The next super important feature is this overlay resizing. So you can resize the overlay like this. You can also click this button to unlock at the aspect ratio and then just control one dimension like that. There's also a checkbox here so that you can choose to restore the tabs that you were previously using when you start up the overlay. The next pretty cool feature, also there's an option here to minimize on focus loss. This is what that does basically. When you check it and then you click outside of the overlay like that, it's going to auto minimize it. You see here, if I click outside of the window with the option disabled, then it doesn't minimize, but if I click it and then I click outside, then it minimizes automatically. Now, I've pretty much told you every single feature that this thing has. However, a very important drawback is that Evadus Lite is not immune to focus changes like Evadus Core is, our other tool. Here's just a quick example of what I mean. So you see when I click inside it, it says this document has focus. Click outside the document to lose focus. So, and then you'll notice here, when I click somewhere like here, it says focus lost. Now with our other tool, Evadus Core, it is immune to these focus changes. However, Evadus Lite is not. So if I give that focus again and I double click, say on the overlay, you'll see that it says focus lost. If I click there, then I open it again, focus lost. It is an unfortunate drawback and a lot of proctors use this detection method, which is why we made Evadus Core, which can pass this test. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As always, you can download it from our website, evadus.w2f. Remember to join the Discord server and I will see you guys in the next one.